Welcome back to Hot Takes and Deep Dives, and I am here. This is the most amount of people I have ever recorded with simultaneously. Oh. I have 3 professional Madonna fans.
Oh yeah.
Now, one of our guests is well known to my audience. Of course, Tony Trius. We have recorded many times together. Say hello to the people.
Hello, people.
Back in New York.
I am back in New York. I'm excited to be back in contact with Jess. We
were always
hang
in
out.
contact.
Well, you know what I mean. You know, like now, like we go to our secret clubhouse and we hang out and oh my God, wait till you guys hear who's here.
Oh yes.
Oh my.
And
who's here?
Now, my 2 very special guests are the stars, creators of, honestly, I think it's my favorite podcast of all time.
Wow. Really?
Oh my God.
We have
Wow.
Mark Snyder
Hi.
and Kenny Finkle.
It's true.
You are the stars of also maybe the most insane name for a podcast,
Yes.
which is all I want to do is talk about Madonna.
Yeah, and that's
Well,
all
it's
we
the
do want to
truth.
talk about.
Yeah, it is the truth.
Now, were there any alternate titles for the show?
No.
No, we wanted to do a podcast together, and we were thinking, what would we be able to do that we could talk about for a long period of time? And then, we were like, oh, what would we call a podcast about Madonna? And it's like, what else is it about? It's about Madonna. And then it was like, well, all I want to do is talk about Madonna. And it was literally our first meeting about it. We had the title.
Yeah, it's in my notes because we were having dinner. We were high.
Yeah.
And I was
were.
like, I'm going to take some notes so I remember what we talked about. And that's where it was. And we went back and forth between all I wanna and all I want to. And Mark was like, want.
Want to.
But I'm glad that you say that because I was listening to your show and you talk about that all podcasts have bad names or what.
Well, no. Oh. It was my friend Brendan Davis. He has this thought that every podcast name is a bad name. Like he's a little fast and loose with that. It's not an absolute rule. But what do you guys think? I mean, obviously you are the co-host. Tony's the co-host of the long-running MLVC.
Yeah, I do think that the title has a lot to do with the content. I see a lot of podcasts pop up, and I'm like, what is this about?
Well, and you also, when you say the title, people's eyes light up. Ooh, no matter what, no matter who it is,
or they totally turn off.
No, not even non-fans are like, wow, that sounds really intense and incredible, and they want to know how it is going.
But it's interesting because you have 2 Madonna podcasts, yet they could not be more different from each other.
Yeah.
This is like a concept. You did a concept album here with this one.
Yeah.
Walk people through what you guys are doing and when you started.
So we decided we wanted to do a podcast and talk a lot about a lot of different things. The thing that I always, and Kenny would agree with me, the thing that we love the most about Madonna is the music. And the music, I remember there was a Q magazine article around the music era in 2000 where it was all about Madonna's music. And it was a fascinating interview where she just talked about writing songs and everything. So we were like, we're going to start at the beginning of her oeuvre with Lucky Star, and we're going to go song by song by song through the entire catalog. In order. Yeah. No skipping, no skating over something. And
my favorite is when you get there occasionally, you'll hit a song and you literally will start like, what are we going to say
What
about?
are we going to
No,
say?
I think recently it was, what are we going to say about Push? You guys were going through confessions.
The episode was amazing. I mean, we had this amazing
and
guest.
then cut to, you guys can do an hour on Push.
On Push, yeah.
Yeah, I feel like we were going in the same direction with Has to Be, and I love that episode too.
Oh, it's so great. And the idea is like every artist, all of them matter. So the hits matter just as much as the songs that are transitional songs. And a song like White Heat has just as much resonance, and probably a lot of resonance for her as much as True Blue or Open Your Heart or Where's the Part, And so that's kind of how it started. And now it's as much about our friendship and our lives and the culture.
I love how it's so tied into New York City.
Yeah.
It's very like, I was living here. This is when you met your partner. Like we're up to the part where you and your partner become official and like you've been together ever since, and like right now you're in Hard Candy. You just started Hard Candy.
They just had their first date.
Yeah, you just had your first date.
I mean, I think that is really, we were really thinking about also having a subject, because I think oftentimes on shows you have something where everybody's talking about something, but there's no central idea, and
Holding it all together.
And when we started, we were like, the episodes are going to be bite-sized. They're going to be 7 minutes long, right? And there's
once again, cut to an hour on push. I love that you have like maybe like a 7-minute episode on Holiday, and like cut to the shittiest track on Hard Candy. It'll be an hour.
I mean, Die Another Day, I think, is 2 hours long. It's like a crazy.
And rightfully so. That was riveting.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. We want to go back to some of the earlier ones that we gave short shrift on. We were trying to hold to our mandate, and now we're realizing that we didn't need
fat.
to. Yeah.
But it's really, I mean, it's such a testament to Madonna, because she has covered 40 years of culture, history, politics, music, fashion, art, a film, the film industry has worked. She's covered so many different genres. I mean, I never thought we'd do a huge deep dive on Andrew Lloyd Webber and Evita and Patti LuPone and all these different things, and all of the different areas she's touched. And you get to a point like right now we're talking about Justin Timberlake and Timbaland, and I'm learning all kinds of stuff about hip hop, R&B in the 2000s that I didn't necessarily know. And it's that's the thing that I think gives the show its real like spine, is her crazy, curiosity-filled career.
Well, I have gathered us all here today for the Madonna culture debate. I have selected categories. It's just whatever comes to mind, and we're going to see where everybody is feeling in the moment, and see if you can, just dig back in the arsenal of your mind. But let's start with a bit of an icebreaker. And now I know that your top 5 changes sometimes hour to hour.
Minute to minute.
Yeah.
So we're going to do each of our top 5s, just how we're feeling literally right now.
Okay.
I'm
ready.
All right. Mark Snyder, do you want to start?
No, I want to go last.
Okay. You know what?
Scared.
Tony Trius.
Okay. Tony Trius. These are the top 5 from, I guess, the last couple of months that I've been listening to these tracks. So Power of Goodbye, To Have and To Hold played together. Sanctuary and Bedtime Story played together.
Ooh, sweet.
And Nothing Really Matters, because when she opened the show with that, suddenly that song just plunged right back into my life.
Whoa.
Kenny Finkle.
Oh, man. Well, Don't Tell Me is always on my list. I think everybody knows this.
Yeah.
Beautiful Stranger. Rain, I think, is top 5. And from Confessions, I'd say Get Together or Sorry. So maybe I'll put those together. Is that 5? Or do I need get one more?
Do one more.
I'm going with Crazy for You. I'm feeling that today. Yeah.
Oh, that's so nice.
Oh, that's sweet, Kenny.
I love that.
Thank you, guys.
Oh.
I'll go next.
Okay.
So you can remain.
Thank you.
The final word.
Thank you so much.
Waiting.
Yes.
Off Erotica.
Yes.
Stay. Off Like a Virgin.
Yeah.
Miles Away. Cannot wait for that upcoming episode.
All right.
Easy Ride.
Okay.
Off American Life.
Yeah.
And Bad Girl off Erotica. And a lot of these, whatever, I don't need to qualify my shit.
No,
That's
you do
it.
not.
That's
Jess,
it.
that is a great list.
that is a good
That
list.
is a fabulous list.
That is really a good list.
Mark Snyder.
Okay. Well, I just was on the BBC on Sunday introducing this song, so I'm going to say Open Your Heart, because that was what sprung to mind. I am going to say Animal from the Hard Candy sessions, which we are going to talk about.
Is this a deleted
This
song?
is a demo that was never released. It's called Animal.
It's in your top 5.
It's in my top 5 this week because I'm working on. I'm listening to it a lot. Sadly, birthday song because I played it for a friend this morning.
My head just fell to my hand.
I know. Shooby Doo, because I love it so much, and maybe during this tour she'll switch out Crazy for You and do Shooby Doo.
Oh yeah, I think you should hold on to that.
Wait, yes, we cannot skip over the fact that you are back from a triumphant.
I know,
Yes.
it's been great. We'll come. And
Yeah,
then
tell us about
my
that.
fifth one would be physical attraction. Physical
good one.
attraction,
Love.
which I just,
Is she doing everybody on the tour?
yes.
It's the second song, right?
Why can't we just do physical attraction there?
I think we could like send a note to Barclays right now
Yeah.
and have these suggestions.
I don't think she likes it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's surprising. She's never performed it.
No. Except those early Danceteria shows.
And I don't know if you guys know this, so that song ended up on the soundtrack of a movie called Fraternity Vacation.
Who's in that movie?
Tim Robbins and Stephen Jeffries from like 1985. It was like one of those teen sex comedies.
Something you may not know about Tony Trius, he is such a cinephile. Like his
Well,
his
now
knowledge
you have
of
this
film.
new show. You have this new show about the dark side of film.
Oh my God, you guys!
Hello, darkness.
Just to talk about it really quickly, we just did a Julia Roberts episode. She's not so sweet, and
No, she's not.
We've gotten so much great feedback,
Good.
and I'm so excited. Our next episode is going to be about the O'Neills, Ryan and Tatum. So
And I will
get
say,
ready.
Hello, darkness. Brilliant
Oh,
title
thank you.
for a
Thank you.
podcast.
That's a great
Agreed.
title.
So something I've been talking about a lot with people, or just something I've observed, and it like really drives me crazy, is how the young 30-year-old gays, they're all about Taylor Swift and Beyonce, and it really makes me mental because I don't care for Taylor Swift in any type of way. Beyonce I'm a fan of, but I probably really wouldn't see her in concert. If you were to give one piece of material, so this could be a song, a full album, it could be a music video, anything, what would you give?
To a young Taylor Swift or Beyonce fan.
Yeah, like if to even like put a face to this, if we're thinking like Matt Rogers and Bowen Yang,
Oh, okay.
okay, people who don't really mention Madonna a lot,
No.
but they talk an awful lot about Taylor Swift.
Like, it's insane.
What direction would you steer them in?
We were just literally at a party on Saturday night with a young person who was like, "Come, I want you to bring me on the show to convince me and explain to me this Madonna thing." And I was like, "No, we'd have to really decide on the material because we need a specific way in." And I really think like early 90s Madonna is the way to go. I think maybe even starting with her Amfar speech as a way to like demonstrate her cultural impact, and then to look at music, maybe one way I would go.
That's interesting.
I would also think of like Human Nature as the video to show, because I think that video holds up really well, and I think she's so exciting and interesting in it. So those are my first ideas.
Oh, those are all excellent ideas. I mean, I always would show the Blonde Ambition tour because it's such an apex. It is the beginning of this kind of chaptered tour that Taylor Swift and Beyonce and all of them are following now. And just because there's so much blowback right now about Madonna's physicality and all of these things. Seeing her kick ass, like that tour is all about her body and her endurance and how she just keeps going. That to me, I think, is something that I think would puncture their Gen.
I don't know though.
Z.
Like I feel like the kids don't see it. They don't. Like I've sat with young people and been like, watch this thing, look at her, and they're like, yeah.
I showed, I think it was a clip of, it was either Holiday or something else from Blonde Ambition. I have a good friend who's a huge little monster in our midst. Yeah. And Gaga is her number one, has like slept on the street, done the whole thing.
Yeah.
And I once showed her something, I believe it was, it was either Vogue or Holiday, something like that. And she literally sat right there and she was like, boring.
I've had that experience many times. Yeah.
Anything come to mind?
Yeah, absolutely. I would direct them to Desperately Seeking Susan because it's the perfect intersection of film, pop star. There's a song in there. These are things that Taylor Swift and Beyonce have both attempted to do and failed miserably at. Yet, Madonna got, that song to number one. And, she is stellar in that film. She is a presence. And you can't deny that no matter whether you're a fan or not,
So I was literally in this predicament. So there's a comedian who I love. Do you guys know Pat Regan?
Yeah.
Okay, so literally, I interviewed him a few weeks ago. He was sitting right where you are, and all the way at the end of the interview, he basically reveals that he knows nothing about music, like because it had to do with like him being closeted in high school, and he felt that if he were to name any kind of artist or get into music, it would be a tell that he was gay. So he has no relationship to literally any artist. And I said, I have a prescription that is going to solve all of your life's problems. I said, you're going to watch Truth or Dare.
Yeah.
And the reason for that, I think Pat is a perfect archetype of like the Matt Rogers and the Bowen Yang, because it combines that reality TV Bravo thing that we're all into with all of the music, and it's the Blonde Ambition tour, which I'm completely aligned with you and your opinion on it.
Yeah.
And so I think Truth or Dare
I think that's a
is
good
the
choice.
package.
I agree with a caveat that she seems to be performing, and I worry that they're not going to get the Madonna, like they're going to get a version of Madonna. Because what I like about Truth or Dare is the work ethic that's in there, and you see how hard she's working throughout that whole tour. But at the same time, she's a persona too in that, and there's a lot in there that I feel like a lot of people, well, Madonna's mean, or Madonna's this, or Madonna's that.
No, but we love Housewives. We love a bitch. We love a bitch.
No, it's all there, you know? It's all there for you.
Yeah, those are good choices.
This jumps right into why you seem scared. Is this excited or scared?
I'm excited. I'm rolling.
This is all I want to do is be asked questions about Madonna.
Yeah, bring it on.
This is the titular. All I want to do is talk about Madonna. Okay.
Ooh, say titular.
Tell us, Jessica. Tell us, Jess. Come on.
Okay. Favorite moment, best moment in Truth or Dare. And you know what? This is only going to be the black and white scenes.
Not the
no performance footage.
Okay. All right. I know exactly what mine is.
Good.
When she's on the phone with her dad, asking him who's coming. I want to know now.
Tickets. I can get you tickets.
I can get you tickets any night you want to come, but you got to tell me now, and you got to tell me who they're for. And I love it because I'm like that with my parents. I'm multitasking. I'm usually eating. I'm on the phone. I'm like, I got 10 minutes. They have no idea what's going on in my life. They have oh, that's really nice. Oh, good for you. And then I'm like, okay, I got to go. And I love that. That is real Madonna. That is a human moment.
Kenny Finkle.
Okay, thank you. Thank you for saying my full name.
No, it's always going to be Kenny.
It's always going to be.
I
Kenny
appreciate
Finkle.
this very much. I mean, I have so many, but I'm first flashed on the Moira section.
Of
So I'm
course.
thinking of
She's our secret weapon.
little shit.
shit.
So I love that section a lot, and everything about that
I
part.
was a dancer. I was a topless dancer. But, I was really into the drugs.
She told you I never fingered her.
Donna.
Did you guys see that meme on Instagram about a month ago where it's like, post one thing that only Madonna fans would get, and it was a picture of Moira.
She's like the fallen angel of Truth or Dare.
I could go on the corner of 5th Avenue and 14th Street with a photo of her, and I'm sure 90% of the people wouldn't know who she is.
90 though, but that 10%.
Yeah, that 10%.
That 10%
That would be a
would
great
like
group.
Justice for Moira McFarlane.
Yes.
Oh, justice always.
Yeah, always.
Yeah.
Okay, this has been my favorite scene forever, and I think that an entire film could be made informed by this scene. When they are in Madrid and they go to Almodovar's dinner party.
Oh.
But my favorite scene is when they're in the bathroom. Madonna just found out that Antonio Banderas is married. And she's like, oh my God, Nikki, what am I going to do? He's like so gorgeous. Like, okay, I'm going to go out there. Who am I going to flirt with? You know? And it's like that. She's not acting.
No.
It's girl time with Madonna. And that was during a time when she was coming off hanging out with all those girls like Jennifer Grey, Sandra Bernhard.
Yeah.
So I love to see Madonna as a girl's girl.
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
And that was it. That was it in full display.
I love that wife, his wife.
Oh yeah, who's like,
I know.
no.
No, we were going to do an Oscars. Remember, we were going to do like a Best Supporting Actress nomination.
Annalisa.
Yeah, for her.
And she was going to be one of the nominees. It was her, Sandra, Nikki,
Oh, yeah.
and Moira, of course. And then
the-
Mama Makeup.
Yes,
Mama Makeup was on
Which
the
is also
nominee.
one of my favorite moments at the front.
yeah.
And I love the
Music
full
act.
irony that she lost Antonio not to Madonna but to Melanie Griffith.
Yes.
Which kind of made sense.
Yeah, yeah.
Kind of made sense.
My favorite moment is when she has the throat infection. Doctor is seeing her. Warren Beatty is off to the side, and the doctor says, like, "Is there anything else? Like, do you want to talk off? Do you want to talk off camera?" And she just moves her head side to side, and Warren overhears and he goes, "Talk off camera." She doesn't want to live it. Well, why would you say anything if it's not on camera?
Yeah,
Totally.
yeah.
I feel like
Very
that
prescient, very
encapsulates.
prescient.
Yeah. Well, I think that's the birth of reality TV.
Yeah.
I mean, that
Yeah.
moment, you know?
Yeah. I wonder what Warren Beatty thinks of that now. I would ask him that if I could. Was like, how do you feel about that? Because that's probably one of the most quoted lines he's ever said in his life.
Yeah. Or I also wonder if Annette Bening is flipping through the channels and Truth or Dare comes on, does she stay or does she
She loves
change
it.
the channel?
Of course.
She loves it.
Of course.
Okay. Favorite album as few to no skips.
Oh.
Well, do you want? I'll go first. The one that I think, and this isn't my favorite album, the one that has no skips, I think, is Music. I think Music is 10 lean and mean songs. There's no filler on that record. Even Amazing is a solid, great track that I love so much. And I think that's probably the most cohesive set of 10 songs. My favorite's going to be Like a Prayer. It's always going to be Like a Prayer. I want it to be erotica. I wish I was so sophisticated and dirty. But no, it's always going to be Like a Prayer because that was the one that it has so much about family and religion and sexuality and gender and all kinds of different life lessons in there. And it was so mature, and I loved the diversity of the music. I love that Dear Jessie flows into Oh Father, flows into Keep It Together. My sister and I love Cherish. It's the only song my baby sister will listen to by Madonna. So I kind of have to have it there. And it always will. It's always going to be that one, I think.
Tony?
Yeah, for me, it's going to be Like a Prayer as well because as a child, people gave me Madonna records for my birthday, and to be honest, like a Virgin, True Blue, I didn't really play them that much because I equated Madonna to be like a teen girl artist.
Yeah,
and I was listening to Depeche Mode and The Cure. But then Like a Prayer comes out, and the first time I heard that song, it really spoke to me. And when I bought the cassette and I sat and I listened to it from, the first song to the last song, it was an experience that I've never had before with music.
Yeah.
And, to echo what not Kenny Finkle, Mark Snyder was saying, it just
He loves that you just did that. He loves
it encapsulated a place and time that we'll never get back. Hearing her with Prince and hearing the Beatles influences.
I also want to say really quickly that I remember that same thing, like Tony's saying, of listening to it from front to back without knowing, and the idea of love song into the dance song about the divorce with the glasses breaking,
Till Death Do Us
to be 13 and hear that, you're like, holy, this is a theater piece too. So I could get my head around it that way, but I just remember the dance break until Death Do Us Part while they're talking about we'll never laugh. Now, it's so dramatic. And it's so poppy.
And one last thing I wanted to add too, it's when I heard that album the first time, I visualized every single song.
Yeah.
There were pictures in my head without the benefit of a video aside from Like a Prayer.
Yeah.
I mean, it's so hard because it is really of a time, in a time there's an album that you listen to more. I think recently Confessions is the album that I put it on and I don't skip a track. And sonically, I listen to that like it is a new album every time. The sound of that hasn't changed. Erotica emotionally for me is the album that back to front feels like my life. So
Are you a dominatrix, Kenny Finkle?
Yes.
Okay.
Mine is actually going to segue into our next category. Mine, the cassette is right over there.
Oh,
don't know if
I
you can
see it. There she is.
Oh my gosh.
Bedtime
okay.
Stories.
Okay.
That was my number 2.
It was also Mary Gabriel's favorite album.
Yeah.
Who wrote the
Yes.
new book. She loves Bedtime Stories.
Bedtime Stories and Erotica are my 2 favorites, but if I had to just name one, Bedtime Stories, there are no skips.
Yeah.
And I'm about to throw down with
yeah.
you.
Yeah, let's go for it.
Because, we're now going to segue into our unpopular opinions.
Wait, I gotta add one thing.
Okay.
So this year in my Apple Music most played album, it was Bedtime Stories.
Oh, Mazel.
That's awesome.
And I also bought the cassette in San Francisco at the Amoeba record shop, and I have the Upside Down cassette.
I have the Upside Down CD, baby. Oh,
I love
boy.
that.
For those that know,
Let's start talking about Love Tried to Welcome Me. Let's bring it
Yeah,
in. Let's
okay.
go after Kenny
Don't
Finkle.
stop.
I have a lot of
stop.
strong opinions about Love Tried to Welcome Me. So
Okay,
My soul threw back.
I have so many unpopular. This we can really riff on for quite a while. I'm going to start with this. The song "Ray of Light" gives me a goddamn headache, and I have no interest in hearing it live.
Yeah. Oh.
So will you go get us drinks during that sequence during the show?
Song, I haven't listened to it since 1999.
Whoa.
That song is headache inducing. I don't understand. I mean, Ben Rimmelauer, like, he was looking at me like I was crazy the other day. We were talking, and Ray of
He
Light.
loves Ray of Light.
Well, he was like, that's my jam. He's like dancing
Yeah,
around.
yeah.
I'm like, fucking give me 85.
Yeah.
I'll leave. I can't.
Yeah.
I can't.
I mean, I don't totally disagree. I don't agree. Like, I think that the remixes of that, and especially the one she's doing on the tour, is like my favorite remix of that song. And the way it looks like it's being performed, I mean, I'm so excited to see. But I understand. I don't think that song has aged well at all.
No,
and I think
no.
it's sort of cringy production. And I don't always feel like I can dance to that song.
no, never.
But she loves it, and she brings it every time she sings it, and that keeps it.
Well, I don't know. I don't feel like I'm very excited about this performance,
Yeah.
but I haven't seen her do it where I've loved her performance. of it.
Check out Oprah when she was on Oprah.
Oh yeah, the Oprah is
Oprah.
good.
Yeah,
Lots
Oprah,
of
she's
reverb.
all
She held that
Lots
note.
of echo.
She held that note.
Yeah,
She's
she
all
did.
about that.
Yeah,
All right, so
yeah,
you want
that's
an
a good one.
unpopular opinion.
Just like a polarizing take.
Oh, you ready for mine?
Yeah.
I don't like Hung Up. I never did.
Whoa.
That is
Whoa.
fucked up.
No, that is really fucked up.
You have no soul.
Why? Did you not like the ABBA song?
No, I did like the ABBA song, and I liked it when Erasure performed it in their Two Ring Circus album. And that was the version that resonated with me. But when Hung Up came out, I know it was overplayed. So by the time I went to see the Confessions tour, I was like, this isn't exciting anymore.
Okay,
you know?
suppose Hung Up wasn't the lead single.
Right.
Yeah, we talked
right.
about this.
Suppose the
We
lead
talked
single
about
was,
this.
what do you guys say, Get Together?
What did we say? No. Jump.
I think we said Jump could have been the
Jump
lead
could have
single.
been the lead single.
Yeah.
Suppose Jump had been the lead single, and suppose Hung Up had maybe been the third single.
I probably would have liked it more. I mean, I get what was going on. It was Madonna's comeback from American Life.
Yeah.
And the world really accepted her in that song. You know, they kind of like took her back. But it was overplayed, you know, in that Motorola commercial. And then every time you go online, it was like, you know, and it was like cats screeching for me.
Whoa.
Wow.
Whoa.
But I will say that the Hung Up with Tokisha video is really good.
I agree.
Yeah, I don't like
Yeah.
any of that stuff. My hot take is I've been really appalled by the last couple of years of this disposable collaborative trash that she's been putting out.
I absolutely
It's all
So
agree.
like the stuff with the Weeknd.
Tashika,
Yeah,
Tabika,
yeah.
whatever the material world.
Tokisha.
Yeah, thank you. Champagne rosé, all of this stuff.
Champagne Rosé.
And my dread is that they're all going to be compiled on some shitty record that we're going to have to deal with.
We call this the trash era.
and yeah, we did. We called it the
Yeah.
trash era.
It's
And
disposable, you're right.
Nothing was happier than when she wiped her Instagram of all that awful stuff she was doing.
The interminable Frozen remixes.
Our base level of it was the quality check was like below the roof, and I was just like, please just go away and make a record.
Yeah.
And
Specifically from you,
yeah.
Kenny Finkle.
Yes.
I really want to drill down into your complete dismissal
Yes.
of bedtime stories.
It's not. No, I don't dismiss that whole album. There are specific tracks that I feel like
Name them. As Sutton Strack would say, name them.
Don't Stop.
Does anybody get that reference here?
No.
Wow. Oh my God. The listeners are.
I'm sorry.
She's a Beverly Hills housewife.
Okay.
Currently having a meme moment. And
I'm so
I may have to just like delete this out.
No.
Or we can do it again. We can do it again.
We can do it again.
Yeah.
The like that nobody
I'm
got.
just having a meme moment. That's great.
All right, I'm gonna start. I want to be. I'd rather be your lover. Don't Stop.
Are these the ones you like or hate?
Hate.
No,
Okay.
he wants an EP. He wants to make it an EP.
Yeah, I would.
Don't Stop should have been left off. That's the
stop it.
That's the
Yes.
only
No.
skip.
Don't
That's the-
Stop is her homage to the Jackson 5.
Don't stop.
Well, it could have been a better homage. I mean,
That's
it's
the
like,
only skip. That's really the only skip.
Oh, but I think I want to. I'd rather be your lover is like so. It's just
Get 'em.
Ugly. It just the line the lyrics are terrible. The vocal choices are bad. It's like she sings too long on some part and not long enough on another. There's no real rise to it. It's I the only part I like is the Michelle Negaticello break in the middle.
I would have preferred them to release the Tupac version, you know.
Yeah.
Sure.
Yeah.
That
Sure.
probably would have hit a little harder, but I've always liked that song. I always thought
I love it.
You see, I mean, different strokes, right?
Shocking. Any other very unpopular opinions?
I don't know if it's unpopular, but I tend to think that MDNA is a great album. It's just there's a few things that just had to be pushed out of the way, but actually,
Like Superstar?
I love Superstar.
Yeah, he loves
Kenny Finkle.
Superstar.
We are in a fight.
We're getting into it. We're coming.
I think
It's
that
coming.
MDNA is a better album than people gave it credit for, and I think there's
Yeah.
a lot of really good stuff on that. And I'd say if they cut 3 of the songs or 4 of them, we would see like a really beautiful Madonna album.
I consider MDNA that is Madonna's Britney Jean for me.
Ooh, that's interesting. That's
to
yeah,
me-
that's very interesting, especially because Some
I
Girls
can
was
see that.
supposed to be on Britney Jean.
It's the only album that I never listened to. I probably can't even name 5 songs on it. It feels like she wasn't even part of it. I don't connect to any part of it. And it shocks me that, like, when I was talking to Ben, he's like, yeah, like recently I revisited MDNA. I'm like, are you serious?
Revisited?
Like, to me, he never really listened to it.
Yeah.
I'm like, to me, that is utter trash.
Okay.
Wow.
Okay.
You know,
Like, what are the okay? Let's talk about MDNA.
Well, we haven't gotten there yet. So
But we can talk about
we
it.
can talk about it a little bit.
I
a
think
little bit.
Masterpiece and Beautiful Killer are great songs.
yeah, I agree. Falling Free is a
Gorgeous.
Yes.
gorgeous
Gorgeous
song.
song.
I think Give Me All Your
Best
Loving is a
Friend,
great
too.
song. I love Best Friend. I love Girl Gone Wild. I think that's a really fun song.
I love Love Spend.
I love Turn Up the Radio. Yeah, I love Love
I
Spend.
like I'm Addicted, too.
I hate Turn Up the Radio. I hate Turn
Hate
Up the
it.
Radio. I'm a Sinner.
I love I'm a
I'm a
Sinner.
Sinner. Gang Bang. I could get rid of that one.
Gang
right?
Bang I can cut.
Can I
yeah,
tell you
yeah,
something? Gangbang and Girl Gone Wild.
Yeah.
In the day, I was like super into Soul Cycle. I don't know if
Oh,
anybody
yeah,
here
yeah.
was. Instructors loved those 2 songs.
They're built for Soul Cycle.
Yeah,
They're
literally in a
built to
lab.
be- yeah,
literally in a
yeah,
lab meant for
yeah.
Soul
Yeah,
Cycle.
right.
I think a thing that I have learned over the years, I used to love deluxe versions of albums. I used to love all the extra stuff. I'd be like, more. Now I'm like, it clogs the drain of these albums.
It's hard to see what the
It
album is.
really
Yeah.
does. And I'm listening to Rebel Heart on my Discman while I run.
Ooh, that's a tough one.
But you
Wait,
know,
Discman.
like a disc, I carry a little disc, an MP3 player on me. I don't see. I'm a runner.
No, I
Jess,
know
yes,
that.
I'm
I know,
a runner.
Listen, I follow you on Instagram. I know that every day. I love seeing your route. Oh, he hit 6 miles, 9 miles. No, I follow.
I'm doing 8 to 9, honey.
No, I love runners.
No, but I have a little. I don't carry a phone. I don't want to have my phone. I don't want to be reachable. So I have this little Discman I carry with MP3s on it of podcasts. I listen to podcasts. I listen to music. So I'm listening to Rebel Heart. Rebel Heart is a great singer-songwriter record.
Yes.
Buried deep inside a bunch of crap. So do you know what
Yes.
it really is?
Yes.
I mean, if it was 11 tracks with all. I mean, and there was a deluxe version.
9 tracks.
There was a
Super
deluxe
deluxe,
version, and then I think there's another one that's got Messiah on it.
I think maybe this is also an unpopular opinion. I don't know. I've never really tested the waters too deep.
Yeah.
I love Rebel Heart.
Oh yeah. Yeah.
It's a great record.
It is a really great record.
In there's a great record.
Yeah.
No,
there.
I don't feel it's too. Well, maybe it's a lot. It's a lot of songs, but I think name something that you're like, this would go in the trash pile.
Body Shop.
Are you kidding me? I love Body
Body
Shop.
Shop.
No, yeah, I agree. Throw that one out.
Body Shop is the follow-up to Candy Shop. I mean,
I mean, I would say from Rebel Heart, I would say what's throw like Messiah,
Beautiful Scars.
SEX.
Beautiful Scars, SEX,
Oh, yeah,
Vindi Vici Vicinity.
Oh, God,
So
yeah,
are these were all the bonus
Graffiti
tracks,
Heart.
right?
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah,
so maybe
yeah.
the bonus tracks.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think the bonus tracks were not worth it.
But I love Hold Tight. I love
Oh,
Inside
yeah.
Out. I love
Best Night. I love Best Night.
Best Night is
Oh,
a sexy,
yeah.
sexy song.
I mean,
Holy
iconic.
Water. I dig Holy
Oh,
Water.
me too.
Oh yeah, yeah,
Bless
totally.
yourself and genuflect.
No, I think it's an amazing Madonna album.
Jesus loves my pussy best.
Yeah.
The best
Yeah.
lyric.
Let's bring Kanye into it. You know?
Let's do it.
Oh, God.
Let's do it.
Yeah.
Best producer she's worked with.
I'm
If
gonna-
she only worked with one, okay, this is 2-part. Number 1, best producer she worked with.
Okay.
Sidebar: is Mirwais trying to cannibalize her?
I think you know how I feel about this.
Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. How controversial.
I love anything she's done with Stephen Bray.
yeah.
What he's done with Madonna is kind of like the blueprint for the rest of
For
his
people
work.
who don't know,
Yeah.
Stephen Bray causing a commotion
Into the groove.
into the groove, express yourself, keep it together.
Her
you know,
anthems.
yeah.
Her 80s anthems. I think Shep Pettibone and the Erotica, that was a great record. And I dream of the day Andre Betts and her work together.
Oh,
again.
yes.
I think Andre Betts and Madonna together would be amazing again. Because I think the two of them doing Erotica and the yin and yang of those. I mean, we're talking about Hard Candy right now, and it's Pharrell and the Neptunes, and then it's Timbaland and Timberlake. And they never quite cohesively work together. It's something about Betts and Pettibone worked. Mm-hmm. And they brought out different qualities in her voice. And
for me, it's Patrick Leonard and Shep.
yeah.
Pettibone. Was everybody at the Patrick Leonard Joe's Pub show?
No, I watched it, but I wasn't
Yeah.
there. Yeah.
Yeah.
You were there, right?
Oh yeah, that's
Yeah.
where Stefan and I met and exchanged numbers.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
That's
That was
during the Book of Love.
Wow. So
When
the
they did- what he
the
did.
birthplace is at Joe's Pub.
Yeah, no, and
So much happens
I
at
also
Joe's
got
Pub.
to meet
So
a
much
lot
happens.
of big Madonna fans
Yeah.
that I'd never met in person that night.
Yeah.
It was I could say it was a seminal moment.
Yeah.
You know,
It was a
in
great
Madonna
show.
history.
It was a great show.
Can I tell you a little? This
Yeah.
has nothing to do with anything. little peek into my psychology and a little peek into my mental illness and a story about Joe's Pub. In 2003, so I'm obsessed with Gina Gershon.
Yeah.
In 2003, she did a film called Pray for Rock and Roll, where she played an aging rock star. Drea De Matteo was in the movie.
And this was what year? 2000?
It was either 2000, I think.
2001, yeah, because my cousin's husband is in that film. He plays her little brother.
Iconic. 2000. Okay, you heard it here.
Done.
Done. So to promote that movie, there's all original music is in the movie.
Okay.
Written by Linda Perry. This main
Oh my
song,
God.
Gina Gershon performs it live in the film, and a lot of the music is written by Linda Perry. There is a soundtrack produced. To support the film, Gina Gershon goes on the road
I remember
doing
that.
live shows to promote the movie.
This feels so Gina Gershon.
Okay. So one of those shows was at Joe's Pub.
Yeah.
And in the middle of the show, she starts like telling this meandering story about, I was walking around New York and I just ran into this guy, like blah, 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 brings up Lenny Kravitz on stage, who she famously went to high school together
Yeah,
with.
they went to
They
Beverly Hills
Beverly
High.
Hills.
Yeah.
And they perform a song together. Show ends. I would later see the show again in Atlantic City. I would drag my straight friend who had no idea what was going on. And I wasn't even like out yet, but like I'm dragging him to Atlantic City. And he had a car anyway. After the show ends at Joe's Pub, I sneak backstage And I get a photo with Lenny Kravitz and Chris Rock, who was also just there randomly.
Of course.
Yeah.
I've seen Chris Rock shopping in a mall in Columbus, Ohio. He's everywhere.
Yeah, I saw him
He's
backstage at a
zealot.
Foo Fighters show too.
Yeah.
So that's my story.
Wow.
Again, that was just a little commercial
Did you
break.
get to meet Gina Gershon and tell her how much you...
I've met Gina Gershon. Yeah.
But not during that... She was probably resting her voice. That was
I don't know. I don't remember where I met her, but I definitely have like hot photos of her like signed.
I'm surprised she's not done more of those kinds, because she seems like that. That's like the perfect role for her.
It does.
Oh,
yeah,
I saw her
yeah,
in Cabaret playing Sally Bowles.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah. She's
I need to say for producer, I mean, I feel like we're really burying the lead because I think Madonna is Madonna's best producer. And I think she is the producer. All of these people have supported her. But I would say is like, as far as like the cleanest sound, I mean, I'm a big Stuart Price fan, so I would say Stuart Price, because again, I'm going with my theme. But I think Nile Rodgers really brought something in her that is really, really, it would be so cool if they were to work together again.
You know what's interesting? Okay. I do agree with you. Madonna is Madonna's best producer. What I found interesting, when you listen to the Nicki and Donna interview that I did, something I found interesting is we were talking about the song Like a Prayer. And I was asking them about like their studio work, and Nicki kept deferring the greatness of some of the music to like, oh, that's Pat Leonard's genius.
Yeah,
like she would never give Madonna credit for the songwriting or the music. And I'm like, Madonna writes all of this shit, like much of it.
Yeah. I also think they did their work before other musicians come in. So you're just kind of getting the producer hats when you're bringing in all of those other elements to it.
I think Madonna is the ear. Like, she's the one that says, this is the sound. This is right. This isn't right. I don't know that she's not like plunking out. She sometimes plunks out chords, but she is. And so I think the musicality is Patrick Leonard. Like, it is his music. You can tell a Patrick Leonard song, you know? But I think her sense of like, what's the thing, the hook, the thing that's going to make the song, that's Madonna.
Yeah.
You know?
The flamenco.
Yeah, right,
And
right,
deeper and deeper.
right.
I mean, that guitar.
And sometimes it goes wrong, Spanish lesson.
Yeah. But you know what? She gets those. She gets an I'm going bananas. She gets to have that. She gets an I'm going. I think she's earned an I'm going bananas.
Oh, exactly. Because
yeah.
if you didn't get I'm Going Bananas from listening to I'm Breathless music from and inspired by Dick Tracy.
The film Dick Tracy.
The film Dick
Thank
Tracy.
you.
Thank you, Mark Snyder.
Thank you very much.
You can see it in full force on The Girly Show.
Yeah.
You're like, oh, I get it now.
Yeah.
I totally get it.
Yes.
Totally.
Best tour. Now, this is not... Well,
Jess, you're so sneaky. You're getting us on the record on all of these things.
Now, and I will say, this is not the best capture of the film. I mean, here's a hot take. I think anything that's been captured on film after The Girly Show, throw that in the trash.
Yeah.
The editing, it's actually unwatchable.
Well, it doesn't allow you to linger on a moment. Definitely.
Horrible.
Yeah.
So I would say it would have to be best tour up to The Girly Show, and then like you have to have seen it live to really get a sense.
Yeah. Okay. All right.
And
I
then
like that.
and a follow up, most memorable song that you saw live, the live presentation of it.
Oh, okay. Kenny, do you want to start this?
Kenny
one?
Finkle, please.
Geez, I mean, I think if we have to do pre-Girly Show or Girly Show and pre, I mean, I do think Blonde Ambition is the greatest tour, like overall.
Well, no, if you saw Confessions live, like you can put.
I thought Confessions was an amazing tour. And that was, I don't know. I actually really loved Drowned World. I loved that to me because I hadn't seen her. That was my first tour that I ever saw her live. So for me, I think the impact of that, and that's the same how I feel about the opening of that and the closing of that. I think Substitute for Love blew me away, was one of the things I'll never forget. And the same with music at the end, where I'll just never forget that. So I think those two. And then La Isla Bonita in there as well.
If we could just talk about Drowned World for a minute. So the other week, Tony and I were hanging out, and I was asking him, like, what is up with all the violence? Like in Drowned, I feel like Drowned World, like that, again, that was the first show I saw live, and it was such an amazing moment, but I don't think I would ever want to watch it again. I think it actually goes to the bottom of my list because I'm not interested in the violence. Even Nicki's like, that's really what turned Nicki off to continuing to tour. It was like, she didn't agree with the messaging. Tony said, that's all Guy Ritchie. She was trying to impress Guy Ritchie.
Yeah.
So like, can you like talk? Because what you said when we were hanging out.
Yeah. No, I can definitely see the shift from Evita, Madonna, Ray of Light, Madonna, and then suddenly she is in a relationship with Guy Ritchie, who is known for making these violent films. He's a man's man. He's a bloke. He's all the... And we all know, I mean, this is very well documented. You can also see it in action in Swept Away and in I'm Going to Tell You a Secret. She is playing up to him.
Yeah.
And I'd never seen that before. I've never seen that kind of Madonna. She didn't do that with Sean Penn, and she didn't do that with Warren Beatty. You know, she was like, I'm a big star. But with Guy Ritchie, it's like she almost deferred to him. And I feel like a lot of her work during that time was to please him or to be cool Britannia, be like, you know, I'm the cool chick in London. But it's not taking away from the quality of the work. But I just know that I feel like it was a lot of it was informed by his presence in her life.
Drowned World has a ton of stuff in it. So we did 4 episodes. So we did each section in its own, because we couldn't do it all in one take. So we did 4 parts. And I think it's really interesting that now that set list, people would lose their minds to get that set list. But at the time, I mean, Madonna hadn't toured in 8 years, and like, you know, my aunt is going to go see her. She wants to hear Material Girl and Like a Virgin and Like a Prayer, and she's getting none of that. And
she's not even getting Vogue.
She's not even getting Vogue. And so it's like, it was such a baller move to do that kind of show that way in that political environment in that year. And so I think that that's also part of it. But
Any other like quick thoughts on best tour? And then we can get into the best singular performance.
Well, my first tour was Girly Show, and I was a kid, and I'm very proud I got to sneak away and go do that. It's probably the biggest rule I ever broke as a high school kid. But yeah, La Isla Bonita and Girly Show was transcendent live. Transcendent. And I was so happy. And that whole show was incredible. And it had that kind of twist at the end of, the clown is Madonna.
I didn't see that coming.
See that coming. And I loved that. I thought that was amazing. And I just remember the sweat on the dancers. Everyone was so sweaty in that show. And I was just like, it was so ragtag. At the same time, it was ultimately sophisticated. It was also very ragtaggy and like rough. Still, I loved that.
Tony?
I saw all those shows and I loved them all, but I think Confessions was the best one that I saw live. I saw it twice. The second time I went by myself, 3rd row, just so I could like not be disturbed, you know, and I could watch this thing happen. And I feel like at that time that was like a complete summation of everything she'd done, and all the money was on stage, all the influences were on stage. She, to me, never looked more beautiful or confident in what she could bring to the stage.
Do you have a favorite song seen perform live from any tour?
I mean, I love, from Drowned World, I love Lo que siente la mujer.
Okay.
I love that. I didn't see that coming, and I wept Spanish tears, you know?
I really loved the live hung up at the end of Confessions, because listeners of our show will know I get kind of shady on the recycling of the live performance. Hung Up is the same live over and over and over, over and over again. And the one time it like lifted out of that kind of route performance was during the concert near the end, where she's like, we're all singing Time Goes By So Slowly over and over and over and over again.
My 2 favorite performances within a concert, Keep It Together and Blonde Ambition. I have seen that more than any other performance. Like, I have rewatched that more than anything. And I think Frozen from Madam X.
Oh yeah, that's such a good one. Yeah.
Like, that was in the room. Like, we were all there. The gasps. Like, that was transcendent.
Yeah. It was beautiful.
And I think it's the reason she's not doing Frozen on this tour.
Oh,
how are you going to top it? How are you going to top that? Tears of a Clown.
Yeah.
Let's talk about it.
Yeah. yeah.
Let's discuss.
Every time that title gets brought up, I just think of her on the floor on that tricycle, and I'm like, Madonna, you're better than this.
I mean, Send in the Clowns I was very much like, this is such a Streisand moment. And she's like singing, and she sang the whole. I was like, she's doing the whole song.
Streisand to you, but more like Catherine Zeta-Jones to me.
Oh, don't bother. They're here.
I mean, really, it's like I love it because like this moves into like what I want her to be doing, which like we'll kind of end on that.
Yeah.
But it's like I love the music, I love the simplicity, I love the set list. But why is it in this whole character costume act that just detracts from it? She only did it twice.
Yeah.
In Miami and in Melbourne.
Australia.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It feels like an act of defiance.
Yeah.
That's what it feels like. I mean, look at the performance of Intervention with Rocco's baby picture, you know?
Yeah.
That's like, I'm sending a message out, you know?
But what's the message?
The message is like, my kid quit the tour and I hate my ex-husband.
I mean, I think that's a little reductive.
Wait, you think that's the
Tony, but-
message of? Well, I know she was talking about Rocco was like sort of missing.
I think, well, first of all, a couple of things. Number one, Tears of a Clown was a gift to the Australian fans. And the fact it was in that tiny little venue and it was this weird ass set list of things she's never going to do, never tried. I think that was very freeing for her.
Yeah.
And I think at that point, when she finally came back to Australia after multiple cancellations, multiple danglings, lots of apologies, she was like, I want to shake off being Madonna. And she's always looking for ways to do that now, I think, more and more. Kenny always talks about this on her show, about Madonna getting back to being the songwriter sitting on her bed writing music, where it's not precious, where it's not this looming force that is this person she gets to be in the world. How do you get back to that person so that you can create something that isn't self-conscious and raw? And I think that's what she did that was her attempt to doing that.
Yeah, but like she didn't. I think your question for me is about like the whole look and the way that she presented herself was kind of punk rock in a way.
Yeah.
And she has this thing about clowns, right? We were just talking about Girly Show. And
Yeah,
I think she sees herself as like in some way a tragic figure, and sometimes, and this was her embodying that. But I felt like it got in the way for me of how beautiful this set list was. And I really it was almost what I wanted, but it wasn't what I wanted.
Yeah.
But there were songs in there I was like, oh, I'm so happy to hear this song and hear her do it.
Easy Ride. I mean,
Yes.
the fact we
Yes.
got Easy Ride. It's like,
But I think too that she's, this is like Madonna's like thing. Like I think she's always in drag, right? And she doesn't take the drag off, or she's showing us, she's always playing, or burlesque. I would say it's also burlesque. There's this tease of like, you can see me and you can't see me. And so here she is singing these vulnerable songs, but she's going to put on this artifice that makes it actually hard to
connect
Do you know what
to
I
it.
mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
she's putting something up in front of her.
I loved, after so many crafted perfect moments that were so controlled, so there's no spontaneity. There's nothing, and I think about that when in life where you're like, okay, it's got to go exactly like this. And if one thing goes wrong, the whole thing's going to fall apart. The fact she was just kind of spitballing it out into the world. And things did fuck up, and things didn't work, and the tricycle did clog with her shoelaces at one point, and her stockings did run. I mean,
It's true.
And she just kind of went with it, and for her to do that, I think was an act of courage.
Yeah.
But it wasn't. They haven't released it. They
No.
haven't packaged it up into a nice little bow and put it out. So it's clearly not something that she wants out there on record, I guess, except in the memories of the people who were there.
Favorite unreleased song?
I love Supernatural.
Me too. That's mine.
But it was released. Are we talking?
It was
like,
released as a B-side.
Are we talking about B-sides? Or are we talking about demos that never see the light?
The local Madonna fan doesn't know of Supernatural.
I know, and I feel bad for that person.
I think
do
it's
too.
okay. I disagree.
Yeah, you think the lyrics are stupid.
Oh, so
Because
stupid.
it's about a ghost.
In fact, I was talking to this guy around Halloween, and
Oh.
he said something about,
Was this a romantic guy?
it could be.
Okay.
Well, I'll let you know. But I said, yeah, I've got a Madonna song that I listen to on Halloween. If since you're asking me like what spooky songs I listen to,
Okay.
and he's like, which one is it? And I'm like, Supernatural. It's the one where she fucks a ghost. And he's like, that's not real. I'm like, send.
Oh gosh. Yeah.
And it sounds exactly like it belongs on Like a Prayer.
Yeah.
Nikki and Donna are in full force on that song.
Yeah.
I should have made the whole interview about Supernatural.
It's Supernatural.
Yeah.
I wonder if they
would have
even
felt
remember. Do they remember it?
They don't remember being on the track like a prayer.
I know.
No, literally. I'm like, what was it like being in this? They're like, no. We performed it live, but like that was the choir. And I'm like looking at Wikipedia, like
I was
Yeah,
like,
they're
that's
on it.
Nikki's
Yeah.
solo.
no, literally no memory of doing it. And I'm made to like be the idiot, and I just let it go because
Yeah.
like I know the facts, but like they're like,
Yeah.
they know that was all the choir, but I'm like. I even was thinking of editing it out because it makes me look like I have my facts wrong. I'm like, look it up.
Yeah.
You were there, Queen.
We're there. What's yours, Kenny?
I mean, the first one that came to mind was Revenge.
Hmm.
So I think I'm going to just hold on to that. Yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Revenge was on Ray of Light?
It was
on
from
Ray of
around
Light?
that time. Yeah.
I was just listening to it the other day as Broken.
Yes.
Broken from the Celebration recordings. Don't you feel
That was
sorry for
the,
me?
The icon exclusive.
Yes, on vinyl,
On vinyl.
on red vinyl. And I also really love Across the Sky.
Yeah,
from-
that's good.
From Hard Candy.
We did a whole episode together with me, Tony,
Yeah.
and Stefan of the best. We ranked like the best.
The best
unreleased. Yeah.
I know.
Now, one of you recently, in like one of your more recent episodes,
Yes.
had the most vulnerable moment, which was one of you confessed to the other that this is where your nostalgia for
that's me.
Madonna ended.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
And it was
Yeah.
confession.
He
Yeah.
sprung it on me, Jess. He sprung it on me in the moment. I was very
And
Well-
it got me thinking, where does my nostalgia
Yeah.
end? And so I'm curious to like for us to talk about that. And what does that mean exactly?
Yeah. Well, yeah, when we were watching Confessions to get ready to talk about it, I realized that this is the last moment where I look at it's sort of where she's frozen in time for me. And I was using the Carrie Bradshaw example of like, in my mind, I don't care what happens with it, and Just Like That, which I actually love. I really enjoy the show. But to me, I do for what it is, but only but partly the problem for me is that I'm always thinking of Carrie Bradshaw in the window on her, computer. Like that's the image of Carrie Bradshaw. And she's frozen there. Like she's changed and grown. But for me, that's that. Right. And that's how I feel about Madonna. Like there's this moment for me of like, and it may have been because my life connected to hers at that moment in a way where that tour and that image and that look, but that's where I hold her in my mind. After that, she looks different to me. She feels different to me. I have a different experience with her. I don't lean into the music the same way. And I felt like she was doing everything. She was 100% the icon that I needed. Right. And I hold her there. And that's sort of where she's just frozen for me. And I still love her, but it's just a different, everything's compared to that though, accidentally or on purpose,
I also think it's like where they stop teaching you because, I'm very loyal to a lot of musicians and a lot of artists and writers and, painters and all kinds of stuff. I devour it. But there's a moment, and I think only David Lynch is the only artist I've encountered where he continues to teach me through his work. And Madonna stopped teaching me around the Confessions era, right around that time. I stopped getting lessons from her about life and what I needed to do, where I needed to go. And maybe that was us maturing. I have all the tools I need to do. I can make my own decisions and my own. I don't need the external.
I can make it alone.
Yeah, I can make it alone. My sisters and me. I have two sisters.
That's such a good point though, because I think she also, after this, she starts to hide things or try to hide things from us. Whereas I don't feel like she probably was hiding a lot from us before, but it feels like she had this other defense on that was getting in the way of some of these, of her being like a more direct teacher.
Well, and it's really interesting because you guys talked to Mary Gabriel, we talked to Mary Gabriel, and a lot of the people that read the book as a result of that conversation said once we got beyond 2009, 2010, the book got smaller too because her world got a lot, and it's a much more enclosed thing now. We're never going to hear from any of the boyfriends that she had during that era. They've all signed agreements. It's all like locked down. And so it's very much like it's just a different kind of artist, and it's much more of a business thing than and there's still, but I flashed through that, but I think it's the tour's gonna be tremendously nostalgic and moving for so many people. We're getting I got a lot of blowback from people once the set list came out. I'm like, what does this bitch got to do for you people?
Yeah,
like
yeah.
she's giving us so many things we
yeah.
never thought we would get. I mean, this is like ridiculous. Like, grow up, people. Like, take the blessings that you're receiving. And
If this had been the set list, even at Madame X,
I mean,
the world would have imploded.
Oh my
yeah,
god!
yeah.
Oh my god!
Not
Can
to
you
not to
imagine?
mention Drown World.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Oh
yeah,
my god.
yeah.
Well, I mean, if this had been she was doing this set list in a theater with like Medellin at the end.
Yeah, right,
Like,
right,
You know what I
exactly.
mean?
Oh, yeah.
Or
Like
she
I
could have
would,
cut
I would
Medellin.
be, you know.
Yeah, especially-
I'd still be there waiting for the encore.
Exactly. Like I mentioned this on our show too. I was like, in this production, Madonna does like a drag ball version of Vogue, taking it back to its roots that
Yeah.
she kind of pulled out of the ground herself. That would have been amazing in a smaller venue, you know, because you kind of would have felt like you're part of that.
Okay, so I think this brings us to the natural endpoint. And so I have two friends who I've had on this show. They host another brilliant title for a podcast, which is Fixing Famous People. And they asked me to come on, and I was like, I want to do Madonna. But this was still during like Madonna Death Watch. So like
Yeah.
they didn't want to do it.
Yeah.
So I did Ellen DeGeneres. Like
Okay.
it was like off of a short list. I'm like, okay, fine. So
I'm sure she would appreciate that conversation.
So this brings us to how would you fix Madonna? What would you do if you had complete control?
Okay, wait. I just have questions about the rules. So,
Yes.
is it like how do you fix it now, or can you go back in time and fix?
Oh, I love moving time and space.
Okay, great. Okay.
It's 1985, Kenny.
Yeah, listen.
Madonna's
All
like,
starts-
should I marry Sean Penn and do Shanghai Surprise?
Well,
or
you
should
know-
I go out on tour?
Well, we know the answer. Well, she did both, but no,
did
because
both.
I think have you ever seen? There's these videos online of like when did Madonna start getting plastic surgery, and this one guy goes back all the way to the early '90s
Yeah.
and says
Yeah.
that she had things starting like really early, and I'm like, wow. So like, there's all these things you can go back and think like if she hadn't.
What
done
do they
this,
say she had in the 90s?
It would be like little things like eyebrows, or they said something about her cheeks at some point, something to accentuate her eyes. They can show when her brow goes back a little bit, like, and this is all like, through the 90s. Like I would say,
That's
like the
just
first,
Botox and filler. That's not plastic surgery.
Yeah, no, I didn't. She didn't have a major thing until sometime in the 2000s. I think for me, I think it's this period what we're in right now, the hard candy period on our show, where I feel like is where I would actually want to right the ship. I feel I've said on the show, I wish that she had taken a year or two off at this time. Like she didn't have anything left to give. She was going through all these things in her life, and the way that I would first write her is be like, go back and don't do that album. Take a year and a half, break up, go through your whole thing, and then do what you need to do after that. And I think her life and her work would have been dramatically different if she had taken some time there.
And her life itself would have been easier.
Oh, yeah.
It just would have been easier.
I think her music I think she would have written a beautiful album. I think she would have found the people that really inspired her. I think.
So you're saying American Life never existed? It would have been something else?
No, hard
Hard
candy.
candy.
Oh, I'm sorry. Hard
Yeah.
Candy.
Yeah.
Oh, so
Yeah.
Hard Candy never existed.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. And whatever the album next would have been, I think it would have been the breakup, divorce album that we all that was in between, or in between the lines of both that and MDNA, but would have been maybe more. I don't know what it would have been, but I think that's where for me, that's where her career went in a direction that I couldn't, and that is in line with me saying about Confessions, So yeah, I'd say that's right.
Oh, that's smart. That's a good answer. How would I fix Madonna? I think I would have not had her do the film work, the We film.
Just that one?
Yeah. I wish I would have said to her, don't focus your energy on We, because I feel like it was such a big investment in time, energy, money, space, mental space, emotional space. And I think it cracked the confidence armor in her. And I think she's really, I think she worked really hard on that movie. I think there's some really interesting shots in it and some good storytelling in it. But I also feel like the reception and just the vitriol against it almost from the start really, I think, hurt her in a way that like the scandal around the David Banda adoption hurt her. And I think that I don't think she's ever fully recovered from that in terms of her confidence and her ability to read and anticipate the culture. And I feel like that was the time where she was like, okay, I feel inspired and creative and want to do this thing. It's out of sync with what I've always been able to set the culture in. And that was the beginning of kind of her moving away from the mainstream culture. And yeah, I don't want her to make movies. I don't. You know what I think? Because I also think, I'm just having this thought right now. This is exciting. I also think that she wants to prove herself with the biopic. She's trying again to prove that she can make a successful film as a director.
But isn't that dead?
No.
I think the Celebration Tour is part of the biopic.
Yeah. We think there's going to be...
Well, the movie's in turnaround.
Yeah, well, I don't think the movie is ever going to happen. And let's just say a prayer for those playwrights who were held hostage at the house for hours and hours and days.
No, she used certain bits and like turned it into the tour.
Yeah. But I
think she's going to turn it back around and make it like we're going to see parts of the tour and her story. This is my idea for her. Like, because I think she's mapped it out on the tour, right? So now she can just explode those moments and play parts of the show. This is my theory.
Yeah. So it'll be another documentary hybrid live tour thing. Yeah.
That's
that could
good.
work. I think that it's now too late for her to be an actress ever again. You know, not because she's too old. It's just because she can't play a character. She can only play herself. You know,
It breaks my heart. I've said this a million times, and now they've announced it, so it's really never going to happen. I would have loved to have seen her do a revival of Kiss of the Spider Woman.
Oh yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Broadway and
Great
in
that.
London.
And we know who's doing it now.
Yes, Jennifer Lopez is doing the film, but I thought Madonna doing it in the West End and then bringing it to New York, and like that would be a star.
Yeah.
She doesn't have to really act. She doesn't have scenes,
Right.
but she performs. It's gay. It's political. It's,
It's Latin.
It's Latin. It's all of it. Checks all. It's Hollywood. It's glamour, and she's a spirit. She's power. She's all powerful. Like I thought that would be like the perfect project.
I also think similarly of the missed opportunity that happened with Chicago with her and Goldie Hawn. I think that could have been interesting.
Yeah.
It would have been its own animal. You couldn't have compared it to anything else. You know?
Yeah. I have a couple thoughts. I think she absolutely never should have been on social media. I think the legends Cher is on Twitter, like, and she'll tweet something ridiculous like a few times a year, or she'll just tweet something like, be Bette Midler like on Twitter, and that's where you can get your thoughts out. There should be no Instagram. Like, I don't think I don't think Michael Jackson would be on Instagram.
Yeah.
I just don't. When you're of that caliber, it's just embarrassing. Like, don't be among us in that area. And I think that really damaged a lot. Like, the Instagram presence, I think, has been treacherous.
Well, I think that's been across culture. I mean, I was talking to a writer friend of mine, and we were talking about how we no longer have the bandwidth to miss an artist or miss somebody before remember when your favorite artist would be like, I'm putting out an album or I'm releasing a book this year, and you would wait and oh my god, the title has been released, and oh, I wonder what they're gonna ooh. You don't have that bandwidth anymore because they're never away from you enough to miss them. The only one is Donna Tartt, who wrote The Secret History.
Oh, yeah.
She is not on social media. She does nothing. She will come out with, I think next year she's due for her new book. She will dress in that same suit. She will do a bunch of interviews, and then she'll disappear again for another 15
Well,
years.
Rihanna does that, and Beyonce does that too, to a
Sade.
degree. Yeah, Sade is the best at it.
Sade is the
Yes.
queen.
Yeah. I think that's a really good point. Yeah, I think the social media, I love seeing her because I just want to see her every day, but I also understand what you mean. Yeah.
As far as in the future, I don't care about this tour. Like, I don't need all the dancing. I hate a big arena show. I don't need any of it.
Jess, you just want to see her at City Winery or Joe's Pub.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Yeah.
I just want you to do Tears of a Clown, but take off the
at
fucking
City Winery.
Yeah.
Madonna at City Winery.
Madonna at City Winery.
Resident
7
City Winery.
p.m.
No, here's it.
Standing room tickets are $45.
This is it.
That's my dream.
Do Tears of a Clown, call it something else.
Yeah.
Do that at the King's Theater
Oh.
in Brooklyn.
Yeah.
Or at BAM.
Yeah.
And
The Beacon.
At the Beacon, something like that. And no dancing. I swear to God, no dancing. No dancers. Just Madonna and there has to be a live band.
Yeah.
And just strip down the songs or make them perform you can do every single one of her songs, just like strip down a bit and have like the drums, bass, guitar, like you can piano.
Oh, well, see, we remember when we did a campaign
Acoustic set.
We did where we're like, if Madonna was doing a concert with an orchestra where she sat on a stool and sang, what would your set list be of that show?
That's what I want.
And people
Yeah.
sent
I want that
set
too.
lists where they were like, we're going to start with I'll Remember, and we're going to do the whole, like all those like beautiful songs.
I've
that-
always wanted that. Madonna is a torch singer. How about
Yes.
doing
Yes.
a show as Breathless Mahoney?
Yeah.
You know?
Yeah.
Iconic.
her cabaret at the Coconut Grove.
Yeah.
And also, can I say one
Yes.
more thing? Stop singing Don't Cry For Me, Argentina. Can't we whip out a little
The
like,
Miami mix.
Buenos Aires? No, there's so many great songs from Evita. I'm
Yeah.
sick of it. I don't need to hear it. I saw Patti LuPone perform it this summer at the Ice Palace on Fire Island. Enough.
You just want to
You're
retire
Madonna.
that song in general, or
The
just
song in general, I'm done.
Yeah.
I was
Okay,
hoping,
okay.
when I saw it on the set list, I'm like, why is she doing the Miami mix? And then no, she's just going to stop the show dead in its tracks.
Just let her do
And
it.
slow it
She wants
down.
to do
Miami.
it.
But in the club show
Yeah.
that we're designing,
Yeah.
it should be she's on the right track with Bad Girl Rain. Like
I
we're
love
there.
another suitcase in another hall.
Yes.
I think that would be
with
beautiful.
the
Yeah.
to
guests.
do.
Yeah.
and bring Nikki and Donna
yeah.
out.
Of course, of
Give them
course.
their fucking flowers
see,
publicly.
and I love Nikki and Donna, but I feel like whatever happens will not top what we have had in the past. And the
I don't agree.
Okay, I hope I'm wrong if it happens. I'd love to see it happen.
I think in a smaller space, the three of them. I mean, what my dream is, I have the same dream, but I also want it not to be a set like the same set every night, like because she has so many songs, and it's whatever she wants to do that night, right? And then they can come out, they can practice in the afternoon, and they can harmonize beautifully on whatever the song. I think they could do it, and it would be like the earth would stop.
Yeah.
For a
It would
second.
be like Wilson Phillips,
Yeah. It would be like Wilson.
I mean, Kelly
Phillips.
Clarkson changes her set list every night.
Yeah.
Yeah, this is what I want too. I want this too.
And we may still get that. That's the thing. Like,
That's what I think the next phase. I
Yeah.
think this is the last arena tour.
I love the idea of like, what can I do to talk? Like how? Like I love that idea of Madonna being like, okay, what can we do? What haven't we done? What I kind of wish we were getting no phones. I loved not having a phone for Madame X. I loved it. Remember we made all those friends
Yes.
in the mezzanine.
I
Yes,
loved it
yes.
as well.
I loved it. We had
Yeah.
like 2 hours to like talk to people. Hey, how are you? What's your favorite Madonnas? I mean, you had to do that.
Because you know what's sick?
Yeah.
Like, I really love the Madame X tour. I don't know what she could do that could top that.
Well, I wish Mabel was coming because Mabel is the queen singer, the woman at the the women came down on the platform.
Yes.
The
one in
Batucaderas?
the
I love them.
Batucaderas. So the woman at the top was the oldest woman, and you notice she didn't get up and move. She sat in her chair, and she kind of was the leader of the group. So we're convinced that she was like the negotiator with Madonna, and being like, "No, we're staying at the Four Seasons with you, Madonna.
Yeah.
We're not staying at like
What is
a
Madonna
Motor Inn."
getting?
Yeah,
Yeah, it's like,
exactly.
you want Batuka?
What is
you gotta
Madonna
pay.
getting? Yeah,
This is where you start paying, you know?
We're
In
getting the
sweat.
sushi dinner too. We're doing that.
The sushi
And she's
dinner.
like, and her Madonna's assistant's like, Mabel left a note for you. Fuck, Mabel, fucking, and her
Mabel's like, I'm not
It's like
coming
Madonna.
I may not show up. Monty and I are out. We went to Coney Island.
Oh, wait. One thing we didn't discuss
Yeah.
is Mirwais trying to sabotage her.
Oh. I mean, I think that he is a saboteur for sure.
Yeah. I mean,
Yeah.
look at the whole Michigas with God Control. It's like, oh, I'm going to recycle Casey Spooner's lyrics and not tell you about it.
Yeah.
And,
That was a
oops.
rookie move.
Yeah.
He'd been with Madonna like 20 years at that point. I
Exactly.
was like, what's happening?
Like, she's not going to find out about it?
Yeah. I don't know that he has her best interest at heart most of the time, and I think she gets into it because she's sort of like, let's fuck with it.
Yeah.
But like when I think of Medellin and I think of like that little like dinky like dun, dun, at the beginning, I'm like, this is such crap.
Yeah.
Why did anybody agree to this? I don't trust him. I don't like him.
Well, we'll see if he brings back anything because, we always think that Madonna goes, okay, that was really fun. We learned a lot. Now go out and live your life. And when you got something, bring it back to me. Who knows if he ever will.
Also, the fact that he hasn't necessarily collaborated successfully with anyone else is a very telling thing.
Yeah. Just going back to Madonna, like things to like correct. Like my wish sometimes is like that she didn't do all the film stuff, which I agree. Didn't go on Instagram. I love that. And that she'd really pushed further into being a video artist. Like I would love her to have been Yoko Ono of pop music, like to go deeper into the art of the making of the story and what the music is. And so, that's how I would fix her career now.
What year will you guys end? Like where
I mean,
the projection.
We are in our 5th season. It's called
when did you start the show?
2019.
Yeah, summer of 2019.
So we're in our 5th season. We have like 3 more albums, 3 more tours.
Yeah.
And
we've been doing some of the math, but we're not quite ready to say exactly when, but for sure, we only have 3 albums left and 3 tours.
We haven't announced formally what's going to happen.
Yeah.
But I think we have grown so much as friends. The people we get to meet, the people that reach out to us. I mean, the vulnerability of the people and our listeners is just the best. And I think we continue to have the conversations because they really mean something to us. They mean something to our listeners. We hear from them very promptly. And it's really wonderful in that it's been like the biggest surprise about it is how vulnerable everybody is.
Yeah, the community.
I love that you mentioned that because that is one of the main reasons I listen to your show. I mean, you guys live in my head, and it's insane to me that I'm like looking at you. But last year when you guys asked me to say something about Bad Girl,
I love that.
When I heard that episode, I cried because it was like I've had all these feelings about all these songs, and to hear other people, it just feels like we are Legion. You know?
Yeah.
I love when you say something vulnerable and Mark goes, "Oh, Kenny."
That's the most vulnerable Mark can get.
What are you talking about? I am a mess of vulnerability. No. I am all emotion.
Any final thoughts? I feel like we said it all.
We said it all.
Probably too much.
No. I mean, we're gonna get some. I'm eager to hear what people.
I've heard it all before.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you.
Tell everybody the name, where they can follow you online, and then Tony as well.
I'm Mark B. Snyder, 2023, almost 2024 on Instagram. My name is Finkle on Instagram, and our podcast is All I Want To, the number 2. Do is Talk About Madonna on Instagram. We're also available on Apple, Spotify,
and anywhere else.
That you want to access our show.
I love you guys. I can't thank you enough.
Thank you for having us.
Wait, Jess, I have to plug my show.
Oh, yes. Oh, my God. Tony, tell everybody about Hello Darkness.
Yeah, so listen to MLVC Podcast. You can find us on Instagram at MLVC Podcast. You can find me at Tony Trius on Instagram as well. And my new project, Hello Darkness, you can find that anywhere that podcasts are heard.
It's great.
And it's at Podcast Hello Darkness on Instagram. Thanks, guys.
Wow. That was a hard out.
Yeah.
Thank you guys so much.
Thank you for
Thank
having
you,
us.
Jess. Have a great time.